Turkish police raided media offices on Sunday, detaining 24 people, including top journalists, television producers and former police chiefs who were accused of conspiring to topple the Turkish president. The editor-in-chief of a newspaper, named Today's Zaman, was aired live on television. Before he was taken into custody, he tweeted, "Officers back because of democratic relations of my friends. I am at my place and wait. Hashtag free media cannot be silenced." Nearly 1,000 protesters gathered at the Istanbul courthouse where the editor was taken, waving flags and chanting, quote, "Free media cannot be silenced." The US Department of State's Jen Psaki issued a statement saying, quote, "As Turkey's friend and ally, we urge the Turkish authorities to ensure their actions do not violate these core values and Turkey's own democratic foundations." Joining us to discuss is Abdullah Bozkurt, a journalist and bureau chief at Today's Zaman newspaper in Ankara. Abdullah, thanks for being with us. These raids seem to have come out of... What prompted these raids?
Well, I think it has been, coming for almost a year now. Since the last year in December, the major corruption investigation exposed and incriminated, senior government officials, we have been trying to cover bits and pieces from the case file that's leaked to the press. And the government, of course, didn't like it. And we have the president who doesn't like any criticism at all. So we have been getting actually a lot of signals throughout this year that the major crackdown is coming. And it actually happened on Sunday on a live TV. And we don't see any evidence that you can charge actually these journalists, on anti-terror charges. This is a freedom of expression and freedom of speech issue. And we are the largest newspaper in the nation. And the government did not hesitate to crack down on the largest newspaper in Turkey. They actually, send a team of police officers and riot police surrounding the newspaper. And the newspaper editor-in-chief said, "I'm here and come and get me." And he surrendered himself because we're going to try to fight this through legal and democratic channels. We don't want anybody to get hurt. But obviously, it's a major concern for everybody. If you crack down on the largest newspaper in Turkey, then everybody, in the media landscape in Turkey, they fall in and toe the line. So this is actually a part of, major intimidation campaign by the government against the critical and independent media in Turkey.
How do you plan to fight this? In some countries like the United States, the freedom of the press is enshrined in a constitution. You'd be able to take it to court. What backing do you have by the law?
It is very difficult because they changed the law very quickly. Actually, this investigation done 2 days after the president signed a new amendment to the penal code, which actually restricted for the lawyers access to the investigation file. Right now, we don't even know what the evidence, the prosecutor has against our reporters. And they have been detained for over 24 hours now. And the extension was already granted by the judge for another 24 hours. So it's very difficult for us to fight through legal channels because we don't know the evidence, we don't know the exact charges that was leveled against our reporters. Sometimes it's very difficult. Our lawyers are very much frustrated because they are not even able to see their clients in the police custody. So it's of course, a painstaking, it's very difficult and frustrating process, but we are very much determined to fight this through legal channels. We're going to take it to all the way to the European Court of Human Rights because Turkey is a signatory member of the European Court of Human Rights, and the freedom of speech is guaranteed under that convention, which is also part of the constitutional article in Turkey. So we'll fight this to the end, and we said it very openly. We are not scared. We are very much determined to speak up, and we'll continue publishing on the corruption file and other major wrongdoings in the government.
Tell us about this exiled Muslim cleric who Prime Minister Erdogan is talking about, Fethullah Gulen, who's currently in the States. What's that relationship?
Well, Fethullah Gulen has been critical of not only this government, but many governments in the past about the corruption, transparency, accountability issue. And he's also very much critical of the using and abusing religion for the political purposes. Right now, we have the government in Turkey which was very much dominated by the political Islamist faction at the expense of other moderate groups, liberals and the social democratic faction within the ruling party, and they're trying to engineer a sort of a new social design using the government powers and imposing political Islamist values on the society. So he has been critical of this government on many fronts, including corruption and other issues. And of course, President Erdogan and his allies in the government, they don't like to hear those criticisms. So any newspaper who writes about these remarks become target of the government as well. They're trying to issue an Interpol red alert, against Gulen, who is residing in the United States, but they don't even have a case against him. They don't even have any investigation so far. So they are trying to put a pressure politically on their interlocutors in the United States to bring the guy back. But it doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon because the United States said it very clearly. It's a domestic issue. They don't want to involve themselves in this issue.
Abdullah, thanks for being with us. Good luck to you and all the best from us to all of your reporters. I hope it's resolved quickly.
Thank you for having me.